The perfect sport for humans, they called it. Holy gods, how right they were. I sat in my spectator seat, very much the only non-human in the stands of this strange arena. Humans told me this was an obscure but beloved, once every 5 years event where they would gather to watch, and gather they did. I had no idea this many humans even existed. Thousands, tens of thousands gathered in this arena, shaped like a figure eight with an oval building surrounding it. The crowd was in a soft rumble, as their general human things carried on, talking to relatives, explaining events to children, and trying to sell foodstuffs and drinks. A bell suddenly sounded, and a sign appeared in the courtside holo displays. Waterloop. Wait. 4:32. I was confused by this. Very confused. Then a song started playing. It sounded very dated, even by human standards, but as the song began to play, the crowd grew to a dull roar. Then for the first time I saw it. The vehicles for this race entered the arena and slowly trundled over to their starting spots at various positions along the track. 14 of them. I looked at my holodeck device, looking for answers as to what this beast was. They were each of a similar design, with only minor differences between them, mostly being of paint scheme or decals. The holodeck came back with an answer. They were called tanks, and humans used them as war machines. Specifically, at least according to the device, were specialized tanks custom-made by their drivers, based on the hull design of an old World War II machine called a Sherman. The hull design was standardized, the tracks specially constructed with high-grade metals to handle exceptional forces, the armor made of a stupidly expensive nanocarbon polymer, and the cannon on top, all of the same 75mm caliber. The sign above the arena beeped again. Substance, Bazooka Groove, 4:13. And the crowd's roar became ever more aggressive. The crews of people surrounding the vehicles on the ground hastily scrambled into the garage of the building they came from. Then I heard it. A sound that filled me with a mixture of sheer terror and awe as the engine started. First 1, then 2, then 5, and within seconds, the arena was deafened by the thundering roar of hypercharged engines coming from these beasts. The sign changed again. Bay Tremor, Tremors, 5:30, and the crowd cheered in anticipation. A pit crew member yelled out as he hit a switch on the fence line. "Shields up!" The crowd followed his vocalization with a "Hell yeah!" Then everyone's attention drew to the checkered line on the ground. The engines roared as the finish line let out 5 short alarms, each time lighting a red light. Then a long horn sounded, the light turning green, and the roar of both the crowd and the engine shattered my sensitive ears as these multi-ton beasts roared off the starting positions at a speed far too unreasonable for machines of their size. I watched, wary, noting my exit point as the tank's turrets swung about, tracking their closest rival as they drove around the figure-eight track, their tracks emitting screeching sounds and dragging up pieces of tarmac as they drove at speeds exceeding 200 miles an hour. The sign then displayed a new song that immediately started playing. Detour, Artor, 5:09. Then the first cannon started firing. Instantly, one of the tanks near the lead position was blasted off the track, impacting the barrier separating him from the crowd. A flash of light and shimmer of a shield, absorbing the impact, billowed out from the sight. The tank that was hit barely faltered, and rode the impact to move a bit faster, expertly maneuvering his treads to realign his momentum. 3 other tanks were hit, one of them sprinting out but regained his footing again as he started catching up to the pack. The other 2 received barely glancing blows, one shell bouncing clean off the armor plating and causing a small crater to form in the ground, the other shell vaporizing at the impact on the arena shields. I had before this never seen a more perfect concept of maneuverability and control, as each tank barely scored any hits as they fought for first place, the cannons spinning wildly around, firing any shot they could. Each time a shot was fired, the shot either bounced or missed completely. How is this even possible? How? The shots didn't miss because of poor aim, they missed because the driver somehow magically knew exactly where that shot was going to hit, and either steered away or fired a shell back, or slammed on the brakes for a split second, causing the miss. Each shell that ricocheted was due to the driver or gunner somehow seeing the shell coming and moving in just the right way. This exchange continued for a good 5 or 6 minutes before finally a lucky shot managed to get one of the tanks, an obnoxiously painted green with the number 14 painted on it, to face a direct hit during a turn, then tumbled onto its side as it lost its grip. 14 is down and out, the announcer yelled out, with a mixture of cheers and boos from the assembled crowd. With one competitor out, his tank now slowly smouldering at the side of the racetrack against the arena wall, the other 13 competitors slugged it out still as the race continued. Each time I saw a shell barely miss because of it, my mind raced with an infinite question. How the hell did the humans know? By all accounts, they were little more than ordinary death-world mammalians, not a far stretch by the imagination of normal civilization, but somehow they knew exactly where to be, and how to not be there. I used my holodeck to conduct some minor calculations, missing the moment when competitor number 6 was knocked out, only now noticing his tank, with the turret aiming downwards as smoke poured out of his engine, on the grass by the inside track. I did, however, catch the very moment a shell ricocheted off a tank and bounced directly at me. It was the most horrifying thing I had ever witnessed, the moment of time slowing to a crawl, as I saw a tank shell essentially coming straight at me. That moment is permanently scarred into my mind to this very day. Before my brain could even register, the shell found it first and the shell vaporized in a flash of energy. As it vanished into thin air, I held my hands to my face, getting a few humans nearby to either laugh at me or ask me if I was okay. The race continued unabated, with each shell hitting a target, resulting in the crowd screaming in joy. I saw a competitor, number 7, coloured a soft purple, take out 3 other competitors in a masterful turn of events. This one incident is what truly made me fear humans. It started with number 7 quickly passing number 9 on the right side, turning his turret to aim back to use the recoil from the gun as a boost. The tank shot forward just enough that number 7 was able to slam number 9 into the wall. Then, with a tiny bit of acceleration, find the perfect spot on number 9's tank to send a shell straight into the engine block. Number 7 then spun around on the track several times, as he too was hit by a shell side-on by another competitor. Through means I still am unsure, or by simple luck or skill, number 7 managed to hold his momentum and drive in reverse for a full lap, his frontal armour deflecting every shell his competitor fired at him. Number 7 then used the momentum to lock one of his tracks, turning his turret. A sudden loss in speed resulted in number 4 catching up to him, only to receive a shell point blank to the left track assembly, blowing the mechanism off completely. With number 4 out of commission, number 7 turned his attention. Still moving at a few hundred miles an hour, number 7 found his target. Numbers 8 and 2 slugging it out ahead of him. Number 7 apparently saw a perfect moment, tracking number 2. He fired a shell and, either by luck or by intent, number 2 had just enough force hit him that he lost control, and the momentum carrying him, slamming into the wall at high speed. Number 7 then drove up, fired another shell straight into number 2's engine block as he zoomed by. This entire event took place in less than 2 minutes. Number 7 was then hit and taken out by number 12, and by this point the only 2 tanks left driving were number 12 and number 3. These 2 tanks dodged, weaved and bobbed at ludicrously high speeds from multi-ton armoured vehicles, and the shelling became less aggressive, more calculated. Ultimately, however, it was a victory for number 3, as at just the right moment, either by luck or by skill, I am still not sure, he fired a shot at just the right moment to catch number 12 out, resulting in his cannon being blown clear of the turret. A deafeningly loud alarm rang out. signalling the race's end, and the crowd all stood up in unison in a deafening cheer. I spent the next 6 months looking at other human sporting events, carefully comparing all the data I could find. The maneuvering techniques, the staggering lucky shots, the sheer amount of will at tanking the G-forces involved. The seeming intuition of every single human involved to know exactly when to go where, and where to go when, at exactly the right time in exactly the right place with so few mistakes. If this is what they did for fun, I found myself dreading the possibilities of what they did for an actual war.